many hours. Other aspect of dimension of their love towards Jesus in the Eucharist was that little moment after the communion, that sometimes we do not pay attention to that moment enough. The moment of Thanksgiving, right? Imagine that I was inviting you to my convent, okay, right now, to drink a fresh lemonade right now, okay? I would invite you, I would say, please come in, sit down, I'm leaving. What would you think about me? This sister is nice, but she's not very polite, right? I mean, she's inviting me and she's leaving me alone. What kind of nun is this one that invites me to her home and leaves me alone? It wouldn't be very polite, would it? Every time we go to the Holy Communion, we are inviting Jesus to our home, to our heart. And most part of the times, where does it go our mind after communion? We go away. We think about everything but Jesus. Isn't that true? Well, probably not of you, but I myself do that a lot. Sometimes I do invite Jesus in the Holy Communion every day, and as soon as he comes in, my mind is thinking about or the talks I have to do, or the sisters I have to whatever, or the cook I have to do afterwards, or, you know, the thousands of things, or how the choir is singing not so good, how the homily of the priest was not so interesting. I mean, and how people are dressed or not dressed. Isn't that true? We are thinking about everything but Jesus. We are leaving him alone somehow. So one day, little Jacinta heard Lucia walking on the street in her home, and she called her and said, Lucia, come, come. Did you go to communion? And Lucia said, yes, she was just coming from Mass. She said, come closer to me and let me put my head in your chest, because you have in your heart the hidden Jesus. You can tell me, sister, this is a thing from a child. I know it is. But this is something that shows us how much these children, how much stronger was her faith in the Eucharist. Okay. So the love towards Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. It's also another central aspect of the message of Fatima. And of course, the love towards the Blessed Mother. There are only one story I will tell you about this love, okay? Because it's just impossible to cover everything. But, okay, remember that question in May, are you willing to offer yourselves to God? They were very generous and very strong and with a lot of courage. And immediately they said, yes, we are willing. We are willing to offer ourselves to God, to accept everything that God is going to send or allow in our lives. They were very strong and they were genuine, they were honest. But what they did not know is that the problems would start exactly in that same day. Yes, because Lucia, in the end of the apparition, said to the cousins, Francisco and Jacinta, we will not say this to anyone. It will be a secret. But Jacinta, she was 7 years old, and she was saying, what a beautiful lady. And she wasn't, you know, jumping. What a beautiful lady. She was walking home with the Francisco and Lucia was, Jacinta, I can see, you are going to tell your parents. No, I'm not. You can be, you know, be calm. I'm not saying anything. Oh, but what a beautiful lady. And she was, okay, Jacinta, no, I promise, I'm not saying anything to anyone. But kept going, what a beautiful lady. So as soon as she saw her mom, we saw the Blessed Mother at the Covalleria. Can you imagine a 7-year-old child keeping something from her mom? It's impossible. So from that day on, the words, there is apparition, was spread. And poor Jacinta, when Lucia said, why did you say that? She said, I had something here inside me that I couldn't be quiet. Really, this is the same strength of the resurrected Christ when he appeared to Mary Magdalene. She had something inside that she couldn't be quiet. So she went to say to all the disciples, I saw Jesus. So it's the same experience of Jacinta. She had this contact with the glorious Mother of God. How could she be quiet, you know? So she was the first apostle of the message of Fatima. But the problems started. The parents of Jacinta and Francisco always believed. And why? The father calls Francisco and asked him, Francisco, is that truth that you saw the Blessed Mother at the cova? He said, yes, Father, it is. So the father said, if my Francisco says he saw the Blessed Mother, that's because he saw. Because my Francisco never lies. What a great compliment to Francisco, isn't it? Yeah. So he believed immediately. The parents of Lucia thought in a different way. Not because they were bad parents, but they made a different thought. They said, our daughter is not as good to deserve to see the Blessed Mother. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? She's not worthy to see the Blessed Mother, so she's lying. Because they were very good parents too. Indeed, the mother was a very holy woman. She was like the catechist of the whole town. But she says, yes, Lucia, you are not as good to deserve to see the Blessed Mother, so in that same day, the life of Lucia changed completely. And she was the youngest of the brothers and sisters. She was the most spoiled one, you know, spoiled. All the caresses, all the good things were for little Lucia, and suddenly her life changed. Then she was the liar, then she was, you know, the one who was ruining the family, was spread this lie. She was responsible for all the evil things that were coming. So in 1 month, their lives changed so much that in June, when she arrives to the spot of the apparition for the second apparition, so in May, very courage, yes, we are willing to offer ourselves for God for anything He wants to send. In June, first question of Lucia, I would like you to take us to heaven. You see, no more. They wanted to die, no more. I would like you to take us to heaven. And Our Lady, she responded to Lucia. She said, yes, Lucia, to Francisco and Jacinta, I'll take them to heaven very soon. But you will stay here a little bit longer. A little bit longer. You know until when was this little bit longer? Until 2005. This apparition was in 1917. Okay? I think God sometimes He has not our sense of time. Because a little bit longer is not 80 years. You will stay here a little bit longer. Because Jesus wishes to use you to spread in the world devotion to my Immaculate Heart. Now, let us think about this. Lucia, she was just knowing her vocation. She was just listening from the lips of the Blessed Mother, her mission. But it seems that from her respond to this dialogue of the Blessed Mother, that she was not listening to that. She just heard the first part. Francisco and Jacinta are going to die. And she said to the Blessed Mother, am I going to stay here by myself? I love this dialogue between the Blessed Mother and Lucia. And I will pick up my book. I know almost by heart, but this sentence I have to read it to you. So, Lucia was, am I going to stay here by myself? And the Blessed Mother says, no, my daughter. Are you suffering a great deal? Don't lose heart. I will never leave you. My Immaculate Heart will be your refuge and the way that will lead you to God. The response of Lucia was, am I going to stay here by myself? I think all of us in our lives, we do this experience of feeling lonely or alone. Isn't that true? I think all of us, nuns, priests, lay people, married people, no matter many children we have, husbands and wives, once in a while in our spiritual life, in our lives, we feel ourselves alone. This feeling of loneliness is a characteristic, is an experience of our humanity. So Our Lady reacts to Lucia with this answer: no, I will never leave you. My Immaculate Heart will be your refuge and the way that will lead you to God. Once again, the center is God. I would like us to keep this in our hearts. Once again, what is the Blessed Mother doing with us? Bringing us to God. What is she doing with our prayers? Taking them to God. What is she doing in our lives? Being our refuge, our shelter, the place where we go when everything seems lost. That's what she wants to be to Lucia. That's what she wants to be to each one of us. Just this, our way to take us to God. That's why we shouldn't be afraid of anything. Anything, no matter what. And this sentence was one of the most important sentences of Lucia's life. This security that the Blessed Mother, her heart, by the will of God, was her refuge and the way that was leading her to God. But Pope Benedict called Fatima, this school of art, to learn the art of prayer. And yes, the Blessed Mother asked us to pray. What was her most constant request in Cavaleria? Can you tell me? Pray. Pray the rosary. Very good. And she says, pray the rosary when you have time. Wasn't it? Yes. Yes, when you have time? Okay, she says, okay, I know. She says, pray the rosary when you go on pilgrimages to Fatima, right? No. Okay, pray the rosaries in May, which is the month of Mary. No. What did she say then? I want to be clear. I want this to be clear. She says, pray the rosary every day. Did she say that really? Yes. Yes, she did. 6 times in all the 6 apparitions from May to October. This was her most constant request. I want you to pray the rosary every day. I want you to continue to pray the rosary every day. I want you to pray the rosary every day in order to obtain the end of the war. Remember, we were in the First World War. And the coming of the peace, because only Our Lady of the Rosary could help you. She was kept saying, I want you to pray the rosary every day, until the end she says, I am Our Lady of the Rosary. Why to pray the rosary every day? Why this constant request? I will take the next maybe 10 minutes to share a little bit with you why to pray the rosary every day, okay?